talk about the potential hypothetical scenario. Oh my god, I can't believe we're talking about this choke artist of a team again. Uh okay, Josh. Our hometown Cleveland Cavaliers. You wanted to put it in the rundown. I'm okay with it because we potentially could make some moves. But as I had said here in the last topic when it pertains to Kevin Durant, and actually when it pertains to the NBA Finals, I think this group, the New York Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Detroit Pistons, and the Orlando Magic. Those four teams, they are the teams that obviously either made the conference finals or couldn't get past Indiana. You could even put Milwaukee in there as well, if they keep you honest. They're looking at it going, the Celtics are not going to be as good next year, as you alluded to earlier, without Jason Tatum, who's probably likely going to miss all of next season. Boston will probably be a playoff team. They're not going to be the prohibitive favorite in the East. The Pacers, they may be good, but also, if you remember, they started this regular season off 10-15. They could lose Miles Turner, who would be a big free agent loss for them. We don't know how they're going to bounce back. Could they be like a Dallas Mavericks, who were even struggling this year prior to the Luka trade in the East? So they look at it and they go, well, what move do we really need to make? Let's all just stay pat. Obviously, outside of Orlando, who needs more shooting, I'm talking about big moves where I think most of these teams, like Isaac Okoro and Dean Wade, you could trade them. I don't know what you're going to get for them, a bag of beans, but
right. I think part of the reason, let me just respond to that super quick and then I'll let you continue. I think part of the reason why the Cavs would want to trade one and or both is because they know Ty Jerome is going to want a bigger contract based off of what his production was at least during the season and the Miami series, because he fell off a cliff during the second round.
He did not play well. And just for people to understand, with the new NBA CBA, with the second apron, it's essentially a hard cap. So unless the Cavs free up salary in a significant way, they're not going to be able to move, they're not going to be able to keep the likes of a Ty Jerome or even a Sam Merrill. The move they have to make, and by the way, we're going to talk about Desmond Bane, the next topic, but when the Cavaliers got eliminated by the Indiana Pacers, if you remember on the championship ring show that we did following that, what move did I say the Cleveland Cavaliers should go out and make?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I think it was with a Western Conference team, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
Oh boy. Refresh me.
It was Darius Garland for the guy the Orlando Magic just traded for, Desmond Bane. That was the move. That was the move I wanted to make. That was the move that I said, okay, you put Mitchell at the 1, Bane is your 2, you keep Jarrett Allen as your big, you've got Evan Mobley there, you've got DeAndre Hunter at that point as your starting small forward, I would think. That's a championship team. And now the Cavs, I am very fearful. Like I said, Kobe Altman is going to sit on his hands. They're going to go la-di-da-di-da. Now that Darius Garland has this toe injury, his trade value is way down. There's probably no way they can trade him. No good team is going to want Jarrett Allen's contract. So let's put that out there as well. So at this point, your best value, I'll be honest with you, is not even trading Isaac Okoro because he stinks. He can't shoot. Dean Wade's a nice rotational player. I could live with or without him. The guy they need to see if they could get some sort of value for is Max Strus.
I agree. First of all, he should not be the starting small forward. No, thank you. But neither should Okoro. Okoro has not developed in the way I've wanted him to. So if we trade him, I would gladly do it in a heartbeat. Thank you very much.
I don't think there's any way we can get this player because on some nights he's really good. But I'm talking about this type of player. If you can't get a Desmond Bane type, like an Austin Reeves, somebody like that, somebody who's a bigger, taller guy who can play the 2 or the 3, who can also knock down threes and create his own shot. That is my biggest issue with this Cavs team is outside of Mitchell and Garland when he is out there, even though the 2 6'1" guards, you know how I feel about that, how that much bothers me. Those are the only two that can create their own shot because not even Evan Mobley really can create his own shot on a consistent basis.
Yeah, you need like a Tyrese Maxey, for example.
You need a bigger version of him.
Yes. Because obviously Philly's not going to trade Tyrese Maxey. I get it.
Would they for Garland? I mean, do you make the call?
I would maybe consider it, yeah. But
because he's what, 6'4", I believe?
I think so. I don't think the Sixers would do it, though. But you never know. Orlando's obviously not going to trade Jalen Suggs. They think they've got something.
Exactly.
Now, we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, so Maxey's smaller than I thought. He's only 6'2". So to be honest with you, I am looking at height here. I want a bigger guard or a bigger wing.
Okay. Well, we got that with DeAndre Hunter, which I'm all right with.
But we need a more – I like Hunter, but we need basically a better version of him.
Yeah. There's not really that type of guy out there. That's the problem.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Desmond Bane was the guy. Or Orlando got him.
Yeah. But if we trade Okoro and Wade, I would just shrug my shoulders and be like this, okay? And what?
Unless you somehow fleece a team, you know, we talk about like a Jalen Tyson, right? Do they give him a run maybe this season? I don't know. He showed some good minutes in the G League and kind of blowout games this year, but, you know, it's November. It's Mickey Mouse regular season basketball. I don't care if the Cavs go 82-0 this year. Show me what they do in the postseason.
I agree. Because, like I said, they had the best record in the Eastern Conference. They had the Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year. Guess what? I still say this season was a complete and total failure for the Cavs. Sorry.
Well, again, though, here's the thing that the Cavs are probably saying to themselves. And again, we think as fans it's a big if, but really, we don't really know what goes on inside the walls of the Cleveland Clinic courts here at practice. But if the Cavs think that they can get tougher, that's our only obstacle. Believe it or not, as much as I think the roster needs tweaking, we did win 66 games. We were, 2 games by the Thunder, who are run to be the NBA champions for the best record in basketball?
Yeah. And again, I said this earlier. You look at the Eastern Conference, there's not really that one team where you're like, oh my God, I'm so scared of them. Like,
no, the Eastern Conference is kind of like March Madness, where you do have your blue bloods, you do have your favorites, but would it surprise you if, number 5, Oregon, or I don't know, number 4, Texas Tech, won that region? No. It's kind of how I see the East right now.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, let's talk Desmond Bane. This was a great move by Orlando. I don't give a rip about the first-round picks. Oh, my God, they gave up 4 first-round picks. Yeah, all those picks are going to be in the 20s. They're not going to matter that much. Who cares?
Yeah, they gave up the 16th pick in this year.
Like whoop-de-doo. Yes, Giannis was the 13th pick. I think Kawhi Leonard was 14. Paul George was 13. Donovan Mitchell, I think, was 13 or 14. You can find players, but it's rare. It's like the second round. This guy, Desmond Bane, was a second rounder. Draymond Green, second rounder. Nikola Jokic, obviously, second rounder. There's not a lot else. You get one good player every 5 years. So
wasn't Klay Thompson like the 11th overall pick or something?
Yeah, Klay was the 11th. I mean, it can happen. And this draft, as we talked about earlier, is deeper than most. But it's going to be very unlikely, I think, that Memphis is going to hit and find a superstar on one of these picks. And for the Orlando Magic, listen, remember 2 years ago when we came on this show losing our minds because JP Bickerstaff could not put away an Orlando Magic team that literally couldn't shoot. If the Magic could shoot, they would have beat us in that first round playoff series because Pablo Banchero was the best player in that series. It was not Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, you had both the Wagner brothers, Franz and Mo, just kind of having their way with us.
Well, and then what I was going to say is this year, yeah, they fall apart a little bit physically. But if you watch that Boston series, it was like, and this is what Orlando was saying, man, if we had shooting, we could have beat Boston. Like, they were in those games, and Banchero, he may have not been the best player in that series. It was Tatum, but Banchero was like, finally getting healthy again. And it was like, okay, we get a full off season. We get a full chance with this unit to grow. Like, look out. This Magic team, I think could be, I talked about the Indiana Pacers. I don't know if they can get to the finals or not, but could they be what the Cavs were maybe last year, jumping from like a 7-8 seed to a 3-4 seed next year? I think they could be.
Yeah, I mean, they were a 5 seed when they played us 2 years ago.
Yeah, and they're still young, and they got everybody under contract. And now you got Jalen Suggs, who is getting better as a shooter and a great defender. They got Desmond Bane, who's a great defender. Banchero, who can obviously score and is a great defender. And both Wagners. Now, I do think they need to add like one more free-point shooter out of the wing. Maybe Jonathan Isaac comes back healthy. Maybe that's your addition. Right? I think they probably need to add a scoring guard off the bench, a TJ McConnell type player. But Orlando's getting there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And I think part of the reason they gave up 4 first-round picks was not just to get Desmond Bane. It was also to get Kentavious Caldwell-Pope off of their books because I get it. He was a key part of 2 championship teams with the Denver Nuggets and the LA Lakers in the bubble, but he did not turn into what the Magic thought he was going to be this season.
No, he thought he was going to be what Desmond Bane they think is going to be.
Yeah. And
I do have to give credit to the Orlando Magic front office because they made that Pope move this offseason, and they said, this is not working. We got to get off it. They are being proactive. They are being aggressive. As much as I like Kobe Allman, I think he's built a nice roster here in Cleveland. That's what he hasn't done.
I agree with you. But here's my thing with the Orlando Magic. Think about this. They had Shaq, and they let him go. They had Dwight Howard, let him go. Are they going to do that with Paolo Banchero? You've got a centerpiece in him. He can be that main guy. Are the Magic going to actually go against their morals or whatever word you want to use and actually keep him in Orlando? Because again, Shaq went to the Lakers. Guess what? Dwight Howard went to the Lakers. Are you going to be able to keep Paolo Banchero? Or are you going to let him go and potentially end up in the purple and gold? You know what I mean?
That's a good point. And let's switch gears real quick. Let's talk about the Grizzlies side of things. This move, I know there's rumors out there that they're going to still try to contend, and, we'll see about that. I know they got 4 first-round picks now, but moving off probably your second or third best player, obviously outside of Ja and Jared Jackson, I think that they have admitted they're kind of in like a Pelican space, like how they are with Zion Williamson, where it's like we have this good player who, if he's healthy, we can be a 3 seed potentially in the Western Conference regular season. We're not really championship contenders. I do wonder, right? Is Memphis going to hold on to those picks? Do they try now with those picks and up the ante and try to make a big deal for Kevin Durant? Or do they trade John Moran and do they start over?
Yeah, from what I've heard, they don't want to trade John Morant or Jaren Jackson for that matter. But you look at Memphis, even when they were fully healthy and they were the 2 seed, I didn't look at them and go, oh, they're a legitimate champion.
No, I picked Golden State in that series.
Even when they went against the Lakers, I think it was in the first round series too. I was like, nah, I'm picking the Lakers to win that series.
You're right. Golden State faced Sacramento, right? Memphis faced the Lakers.
Yes. Yeah. And didn't Golden State end up facing Memphis in the second round?
No, they faced the Lakers.
Okay. Because I know there was a playoff series where the Grizzlies played the Warriors.
There was. That might have been the year before. Because the year before that, remember Memphis beat them in that play-in tournament?
I'm talking about in a legitimate playoff series. Memphis had home court against the Warriors.
I want to say it was 2022 then.
Because, hold on, now I want to look this up.
Yeah, I believe it was the year that Golden State won the title.
Okay.
Yes, it was 2022. It was the year Golden State won the title. It was the second round.
Okay, cool. Was that the year Memphis eliminated the Lakers in the first round then?
Memphis, let me see. Who because Golden State beat Denver. Let me see that 2022 NBA standings and see the West. No, the Lakers didn't even make the playoffs that year.
Okay. Huh. Because I know there was a year. Okay, it was the 2022 West semifinals. Let's see. They beat them in 2015 and then 2022, it looks like. So
Memphis in the first round beat Minnesota. Boy, that was a forgettable series. I don't remember that at all.
I gotta go use the restroom super quick. I will be right back.
Okay, so with that, I guess we'll just keep talking about more of this Desmond Bane situation here in the East, and again with Memphis, it's hard, obviously, right? Because you've got New Orleans, who knows how good they're going to be, whether they bring back their guys with Zion Williamson or not. You obviously have the champs in Oklahoma City. You have Denver, Nikola Jokic. You have Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and the Clippers. You have Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. You have LeBron and Luka in LA. It's a lot of competition. And, maybe is there a team out there? Houston obviously has got their bigs. Would the Clippers try to make a run at a Jared Jackson? Maybe do they try to take a shot at a John Moran and give Kawhi Leonard almost essentially a true point guard? I don't know.
I heard what you were saying. I would think it would make more sense if the Clippers tried to do a deal for Jaren Jackson and kind of do that double big lineup. And then you have Kawhi at the 3 and James Harden. James Harden at the 2. I just don't know what you would do at the point guard position in that.
No, Harden would be your point, I would think. Because he's turned into a point. He's turned into a point shooting guard, if you will.
Okay.
He's passing more than scoring at this point.
So you would need somebody for your 2 then.
Which, could still be Nicholas Batum.
Or Norman Powell. Yeah. Trade Paul. No. Trade Paul George for Darius Garland. No, thank you.
No, I disagree with that. I think Paul George I would have loved that trade. I proposed that trade a couple years ago. I think Paul George fell off a cliff while he was in Philly.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that deal. No way.